Aloha, y'all. Lahaina Lee here. And every spring, property owners across Maui and on the mainland get something in their mail that gets their attention pretty quickly: your notice of property assessment. And when people open the envelope, they usually have one of two reactions: either, wow, my place is worth that much, or, hey, wait a minute, how did they come up with that number? Well, before we get into it, just a quick note. This video is intended as a general overview of the Maui County property tax appeal process. I'm not a tax advisor or an attorney, so if you're considering filing an appeal, you should verify the details directly with the Maui County Real Property Assessment Division or consult a qualified professional. Today, I want to walk you through how the Maui County property tax appeal process works, who can file an appeal, and most importantly, the two things that matter most if you're thinking about appealing. The first thing to know is the deadline. The appeal window is actually pretty short. Each year, the county mails assessment notices around March 15th. And if you want to file an appeal, you have to do that by April 9th. That's the deadline for the Board of Review to receive your appeal or for it to be postmarked if you're mailing it. Miss that date, and you have to wait till next year. So if you're even thinking about it, first thing to do is check the timing. The second thing to know is the 20% rule. This is the part a lot of people don't realize. In order to win an appeal based on value, the county's assessed value usually needs to be more than 20% higher than the actual market value. In other words, if the county says your property is worth $1 million, you generally need to show the market value is $800,000 or less. Small differences in value aren't usually enough to win an appeal. That's because the county uses something called mass appraisal, which estimates values across lots and lots of properties all at once. It's not perfect, and some differences should be expected. All right, so who can file an appeal? Most of the time, the appeal is filed by the property owner, but it can also be filed by an authorized representative, an attorney, or someone who is contractually responsible for paying the property taxes. Think leasehold. If someone files on your behalf, the county requires a written authorization letter. So next is, how does the appeal process work? The process itself is pretty straightforward. First, you complete the county's appeal form. It's called Form DFT 595, which is the taxpayer's notice and receipt of real property tax appeal. Along with that form, you'll submit your supporting evidence. Now, that might include things like recent comparable sales, an appraisal, or some documentation showing issues with the property that affect its value. The key point to remember here is that the burden of proof is on the taxpayer. The Board of Review can only decide based on your evidence that you present. All right, so you've presented the appeal. Now what happens? Well, once the appeal is submitted, it'll be scheduled for a hearing before the Maui County Board of Review. The board's made up of 5 Maui residents who act as a neutral set of referees between the property owners and the county assessor. You'll receive a notice of your hearing date at least 15 days in advance. Now, you don't have to attend in person, but probably be a good idea. And when you attend the hearing, the process is actually pretty simple. You'll typically have 5 minutes to explain why you believe the value should be different. Then the county presents their side. The board reviews the evidence before making a decision. One important rule: even if you file an appeal, you still need to pay your taxes on time. If you win the appeal, the county will refund any overpayment. But if you don't pay the taxes while the appeal is pending, penalties can apply. One final thought. The county is actually looking in the rearview mirror, so most of the time the assessed values come out in your favor. But when markets move really quickly, either up or down, those estimates can sometimes fall out of sync with reality. That's the case for condos, especially right now. That's why the appeal process exists. So if you believe your property may have been assessed incorrectly, the key things to remember are the April 9 deadline and the 20% rule. If you want more details on how the process works, we've also put together a full resource guide on our website that walks you through the steps, how to get the forms needed, and how to get in contact with the county. You can find all that at alohagroupmaui.com. And as always, if you have questions about the Maui real estate market, buying, selling, investing in the property here on the island, I'm always happy to talk story. Until next time, from the greatest island on earth, this is Lahaina Lee saying, aloha, y'all. Tony Brown produced this podcast. The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not intended as a recommendation to invest in real estate or any other financial asset. We are not financial planners, certified public accountants, or attorneys. You should consult with a qualified professional before making any financial, legal, or investment decisions. All investments carry risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results.